Hi, I am Monica Brant, one of the world's first true fitness pioneers starting back in 1991. I helped launch the fitness industry while traveling internationally, meeting fans worldwide to share my style of fitness to the bodybuilding community. After a decade of fitness competitions, I earned one of the world's most prestigious titles, the IFBB Fitness Olympia Championships. Moving into the new millennium, I was the first IFBB Fitness Olympia athlete to transition into the new professional figure division and compete for close to another 20 years. After 15 years as an IFBB professional, I tried another organization and won the WBFF World Pro Figure Championships both 2010 and 2013. I am a true athlete and made my way into racing into the Masters USATF sprint events, placing top 3 at the World's Masters track meet in all 3 events, the 100, 200, and 400 meter races. Besides athletics, I have been honored with over 100 magazine covers both nationally and internationally. Since it's always a blessing to share with others, over the last 15 years, I've hosted women's fitness events and worked with the clients, helping them discover how to live radiantly in all areas of life, body, mind, soul, and spirit. The Monica Brant Show is one of the ways I am honoring the legendary athletes, powerhouse individuals, and nutrition gurus that have laid a strong foundation in the past, help keep the current industry flowing, and offer inspiration to the next generations. To see everyone tuning in already. It is Tuesday night tonight, Talk Show Tuesday. I'm Monica Brant, your host for the Monica Brant Show, and I'm so excited. I'm really excited. I know I say that every week because I've just so enjoyed all of my guests overall. I think I've done close to 30 episodes now. If you haven't seen the past episodes, please go back. You can go on the monicabrantshow.com website and see all my past episodes with all my legendary athletes and superhouses that have helped build this fitness and wellness industry. But tonight I have a very special guest on that I'm so excited to share with you. I've been using his products and learning about EMFs and radiation from him. I mean, this is a part of our health that is really important to start understanding more about. And just a few years ago, I didn't know anything like you guys. I knew nothing, and I've been over this last few years. In fact, my mom is the reason I started learning about, the negative effects of EMF and what it is, why is it negative, what it means, and how to start supporting your health and learning about it. So I'm super excited to share the guest tonight with you. And I just have to say, again, shout out to my mom, because she's the one that shared with me about this company, Shield Your Body. And now we have the owner and the founder, CEO of this company on tonight. So when you're tuning in, guys, please just say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to just see your names pop up. I wish I could see all your faces. I'm such a relationship person and I love people, and it's really fun to see all of your names. So just quickly, hi Quitman, nice to see you again. You have been on almost every week. That's so fun. Nana, hi. Michael. Thank you, Michael. That is awesome. I appreciate your compliments. And just so you know, I'm looking at a big monitor over here because I can't see my comments in my computer screen in front of me, so I do have a meeting. Hi, Kurt. Nice to see you. Yes, it's showtime. So without any further ado, tonight's guest is an educator. He's an author, entrepreneur, and he is the CEO of this company, Shield Your Body. So let's help me welcome, please, tonight, my special guest, R. Blank. Take it away, Kona.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Monica.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi.
Well, thanks for joining. I'm so excited. I know we've started talking about having you on the show a few months ago. I don't remember what month it was, but here we are, and I've been looking forward to this time with you for quite a few months. And
thank you. Me too.
Yeah, thank you. And I've been on some of your webinars, and they've always been super helpful. And I have to admit, it's like all of the information sometimes is so much that I know I start off really strong in your webinars, and it seems like by the end of the webinar, my brain feels a little mushy from all the information. But hopefully tonight you can help kind of
hopefully I'll keep your interest tonight. Yeah.
Well, the interest is there. It just sometimes feels like a lot, like almost like, oh my gosh, like how do I do all this? But I know that tonight I really am excited because I want to just be able to put out some really simple information and continue to layer that foundation of knowledge for not just myself, but my viewers as well. So thank you for taking the time. So first of all, before we get any further, I want to just shout out to my presenting sponsor of the Monica Brant Show, Sear MD Nutrition. So thank you to my very generous sponsors. And one of my other sponsors is Aloe Life International. We have a giveaway. So I'm going to announce the giveaway for Aloe Life International. So you guys that are viewing and watching right now, and by the way, hello, Edward and Ruben. Tell your family hello, Ruben, please. I know there's so many people tuning in, so it's awesome to see everybody. Okay, guys, you know how this works. Our first person to answer the question correctly in the comments, and I'm sorry, but you do need to be a USA resident only because of COVID and shipping things. But for Aloe Life, our co-authored a book with his father, and this is very simple to find the answer. So the first person that finds the answer and writes it in the comment section wins Aloe Life International giveaway tonight. What is the title of the book that R co-authored with his dad? And I'll just give you a little hint. It's super easy to find. If you go to shieldyourbody.com, right, R, you can find it there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and we will have a second giveaway, but that's at the second half of the show. So anyway, so R, tell me about 2020 for you a little bit, where you are, and how this crazy year has been for you.
Well, I'm actually in Panama. I was traveling. I was planning to take a kind of a tour of Latin America, and Panama was my first stop. And then COVID happened, and we got stuck. And this had one of the most strict lockdowns in the world, and they shut the airports, and we were locked in the apartment basically 24/7 for 6 months. But I got a lot of work done. So that's also when I launched the webinars. And I've launched multiple products. And so this whole year has really been focused around work.
Wow. Okay. How big of an apartment, and how were you already in the apartment when this happened?
Yeah. I was in the apartment when it happened. It's a comfortable apartment. It had a balcony, but when you're stuck in there, I'm here with my girlfriend, and the quarantine here it's over now, but it was gender based. So men could go out for 2 hours a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and women could go out for 2 hours a day on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Weekends were full lockdown.
Wow.
And so basically no outside time, and we couldn't go outside together. And so like I said, I just worked. So the apartment was very comfortable, but at a certain point, you'd really like to be at the beach.
Wow. Did you get to do any vacation prior to the lockdown? I mean, once you got there, how long until the lockdown started?
It was about 6 weeks. So we experienced some of what Panama City had to offer. And but yeah, it's not as much. This year didn't really turn out the way anyone expected.
No, exactly right. Well, that is just so. First of all, it's just amazing to see how the people take this year and what they've done with it. Some people have, gained the COVID-19 pounds and, gone down the rabbit hole of too much alcohol, no drinking. No exercise and depression and, wallowing in all of that. And some people like yourself have gone the complete opposite way and said, I'm going to make this a very successful and productive year. And that's awesome. I mean, we need people like you to be in that frame of mind, right? Because if we don't have people like you doing that, then all of the things that you are helping us learn about and giving us opportunity to have wouldn't be there. So thank you for doing it. Thank you for the attitude and the inspiration. That just seems like crazy. So was when you're not to stay on this situation, but my mind is, I'm curious, was your girlfriend comfortable? Did she feel safe going out by herself on those days? And she got 3 days and you only got 2 days. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they didn't trust. They started giving the men 3 days, and then they figured the men didn't really earn the Saturday, so they took it away.
They didn't earn it. What does that mean?
Too much misbehavior. I mean, it was really serious here. They banned alcohol sales for, I think it was 2 months or something. I mean, it was a really serious lockdown in almost the whole country, but certainly in Panama City. And but yeah, she felt safe going out. Like it was only for 2 hours, so how much you can't even go that far. But no, Panama City it's a great city, and we really enjoyed it there.
Wow. Okay. So I find that really interesting because here alcohol was like open still, the stores were still open for alcohol as a necessity, like, oh, there's groceries in there, but it really wasn't that. It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they said it was to prevent an increase in domestic abuse, I think was the policy.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I really feel like it, that was probably a really strong blessing for a lot of people that have people in their lives, and being stuck in a small environment with alcohol, it could be really, really detrimental. So I won't stay on that because there's so much other information to talk about. I'd like to find out, go back in time, and how did you grow up and how did you become the CEO and, architect of all of these awesome products that we're going to talk about later in the show?
Okay. Well, there's a pretty big gap in between when I grew up and when I got into SYB. But I grew up in New Jersey. My father was a professor at Columbia, which is where I went to school. And then after college, I moved out to California and got into software development. And I was in software development for about 20 years. But the whole time I was doing that work, I really felt like I wanted to produce product. It wasn't as satisfying to me to be creating these software experiences for customers. They didn't last more than a couple of years at most. They were very disposable. And so for a while, I really did want to get into product, but I couldn't really think of a product to get into. Then in 2012, I was actually living off grid in a national forest, and my father asked me to help him with his book. He'd gotten a book contract, and He wasn't as good at writing for just normal people as I am. And so he asked me he was having some trouble. So he asked me for some help, and I jumped in and wrote the book with him, basically from scratch. And we mapped out the chapters. What is the argument you're trying to make? What is it that needs to be said? And then for each chapter, tell me 10 things, and then I'd go research them and write the chapters. And it was in the course of writing that book that I came up with the idea for what became SYB. And there were three real lessons there. So one is that all modern technology emits electromagnetic radiation, whether you're talking about cell phones, whether you're talking about power lines, whether you're talking about light bulbs. All modern technology emits this stuff. And the rate at which it's emitting, the rate at which this technology is in our environment around us is growing exponentially. Every year it continues to. That's one. Two, the science is really clear that this stuff affects all living things. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money invested in companies trying to confuse people, saying the science is unclear, there's still a debate. There is no debate that this stuff is bioactive. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is that unless we're actually all willing to go back to 1850, this stuff is part of our lives, and it's going to be. So there has to be safer ways of using this technology and being around it. And that's when I came up with the idea for SYB. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. And I know we're going to kind of dive into some of those different pieces here, but I just kind of want to take a step back because I read that you didn't have a cell phone until after college. Yeah. Like, what year was that? Because that's not 1940. What year were you out of college? I graduated in 98. So I got my first cell phone in 99, I think. And it was one of those great Nokia. I don't remember what the model was called, but everyone had the Nokias at the time. Did you have the flip phone at some point too? Oh, I did later. At one point, I don't remember when this was, but I got a Motorola Razr, which yep. This was before I was, so I loved my Motorola Razr. It was so sleek, and I wasn't addicted to it. In fact, I've always had this, I've always been very comfortable turning off my phone. More so than most of my friends or peers or people. So if I was out on a date, I'd turn off my phone because I didn't want to be interrupted. And people I was with would say, wow, that's amazing. I don't see anyone do that. And I was like, I'm just turning off my phone. Why should anyone have the ability to call me whenever they want? I should be the one determining when I can be reached. Right. And now it's like you can people can reach you from every different method they want and expect you to return. Okay, well, that's amazing. That's really, really interesting because nowadays, right, kids have the cell phone, at 4, 5, 2, I don't even know when people give their kids cell phones. And I know that's a really big issue. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit, but what about no microwave? Because those are two things that I read that I was like, okay, I know how I feel about microwaves now. I don't remember us having a microwave when we were growing up. I just don't remember having one. But they went once you get into an apartment and you're my early 20s and I'm 50 this year. I just turned 50, so I had a microwave, and then I just over time realized I didn't like microwaves. I didn't like how they cooked my food. I didn't like using them. They're too hot. I don't know. And then I started learning about microwaves. So you didn't have a microwave. Was that by plan? Yeah. Well, my father started his research it was in the early 80s. I mean, he'd been researching for a while, but he started his research into EMF in the early 80s when I was still very young, and microwaves still weren't that common at that point, so we didn't have one until then. And as soon as he started, it was just never an option. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize. I mean, so just to be clear, microwaves are so the same type of radiation that your cell phone emits, or your Wi-Fi network emits. That's the same type of radiation that your microwave oven uses to cook food. except it has tremendous levels of power. And it's obviously harmful because it can cook food. So if you were exposed to that, it would cook you. But most people don't realize that microwave ovens are legally allowed to leak this stuff. Now, it doesn't leak the full dose, a bunch of it stays in there, but they're legally allowed, I forget the actual leakage limits, but they're legally allowed to leak a certain amount of this radiation at the time at which they're sold. And then over time, the seal around the door degrades. And so no one that I've ever met has ever had their microwave seal serviced. So these leak more, they leak a certain amount when you buy it, and then they leak more and more and more over time. And you can test this for yourself. Put your cell phone in your microwave oven and call it from obviously another phone, and you'll hear that it rings. So obviously the shielding isn't that good. And so they have warnings that pregnant women shouldn't use them. It's a really harmful. It's a huge source for a lot of people that use these ovens.
Well, I mean, I've read a lot of times and heard, nobody reads manuals anymore, right? Like simple things that you get something simple, and everyone wants to try to figure things out on their own. So who reads a manual of a microwave? So I've never read a manual of a microwave. I just, over time I've kind of heard. I've been in the health and fitness industries. I've heard. And then, of course, I don't like how it cooks my food and all that. So is there any way to just, because it's in my kitchen. It was installed in our kitchen. It was already there when we moved in the house. Is there any way to just turn it off so it's not emitting? Is it now? Let me back that up.
Well, when it's not cooking. Yeah, when it's not cooking, it's not emitting this stuff.
Okay, so if it's just sitting there, and of course there's a time on it, they have the little clock on it, but otherwise there's nothing.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
So just don't use it.
There'll be a little bit. Anything that's just don't use it. And here's if you don't mind me saying, this is a good opportunity to get into this is one of the really important. If you take away one thing from this interview, it is to stand as far away from any source of EMF. You want to create as much distance between you and that source. And microwave ovens are a great one because you can say until you're blue in the face, don't use microwaves, don't use microwaves, don't use microwaves, but a lot of people still will. So then you tell them, okay, but stand as far away from it as possible when it's on. And that's because the power of this type of radiation gets weaker exponentially with distance. So if you double the distance, it's 75% weaker. And so if you stand 6 feet away from a microwave oven when it's on, or better yet, 10 feet away, you're gonna be, well, the further the better. But the point is, it makes a huge difference. It makes a really big difference in the dose that you get.
So if you're going to use a microwave, you have to use a microwave. Just go stand outside.
Yeah, or in a different room. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then you go in the other room. There's Wi-Fi there. And then you go in the other room, and the computers are there. Like, So basically, try not to use it. And there's really. I have a little cute. You have the stove. If you need to heat anything up, you can melt butter. And, if I have pancakes, if I make healthy pancakes, we melt butter and we heat up syrup. So we try to do that on the stove or maybe in the oven gently. And, you can't have pancakes and waffles without heating up your butter and your syrup. Can't have cold stuff to put on warm. So anyways, we try not, I really don't like to use microwaves. So I just found that really interesting that you didn't have a cell phone until after college, especially thinking about now, like all the, everyone has a cell phone no matter what, right? They've got it, the kids have it. Yeah. So I want to just touch on real quick the fact that I'm all about relationships and family, and especially right now, families are so important to people. And I know that you're obviously not with your family. I know you're with your girlfriend, but it's got to be challenging to be away from family. But I love the fact that you co-authored a book. And when I read about that on your site, it just sounds like what a beautiful time for you to have spent with your dad and being able to write with him and co-author and spend that time with him as very, very special. How long did it take?
It was.
It was, yeah.
The writing process took about 6 months, and then a couple months of going through editing with the editors, and
you
but
said,
the core writing was 6 months.
and you said he was or is, I'm sorry, I don't know if is he still alive?
No, about 2.5. He passed about 2.5 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know.
Oh,
I'm sorry to hear that. But he was an international renowned scientist or researcher. Was he?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy. So that was something that was.
He spent about 30 years researching at Columbia University, but he also had postings at the U.S. Navy, the Office of Naval Research, and sabbaticals at universities around the world. I remember when I was growing up, I spent part of. I was about 6. We moved to Australia. He was teaching at Monash University outside of Melbourne. He was a really smart guy. He had multiple doctorates. He had a doctorate from Columbia and a doctorate from Cambridge, and he was just a really smart guy.
I like the fact that he said, "Can you come help me write?" Because all of the information was probably hard to kind of maybe. Yeah. And I hate to say this, but maybe dumb it down a little bit for the normal person to be able to read. That's right.
Yeah,
that's kind of
At that point, I'd actually already written a book, and it was a software engineering book, and I taught at the University of Southern California. So I had experience conveying complicated topics in ways that people could more easily understand.
Yeah.
And also, I had the benefit. Unlike my father, I had the benefit of being trained to be a writer by my mother. And she's a fantastic writer, and she taught all of me and my brother and my sister. All of us are actually quite good at. I mean, that sounds a little full of myself to say it, but we're all pretty good at writing.
That's so important because I don't think kids are learning that nowadays. I just don't.
No, that's what she would tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, unless they're really diving in and trying to be good at it, or they have an interest in it. I just don't think. I don't think that they are. And of course, and then I come in and ask you tonight or today, I was like, so I want you to come in and talk about this stuff, but keep it very simple so that people can kind of grasp, especially if people haven't heard about this a whole lot. I don't want to, be big, giant words and overpowering with information. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, let's see. Okay. So new information for the viewers and people that are tuned in now and obviously tune in later. Could you list the top 4 or 5 issues that you feel are things that we need to learn about? I know you said earlier today to me there's like a lot of things, but maybe the top 3 to 5 issues, EMF radiation, like what would you say those are?
Sure. Well, I mean, so there's different types of EMF. Without getting into too much detail, there's a lot of different types of EMF. The sun emits a type, visible light that like we get from the sun. That's a type of EMF. Mm-hmm. The type when we talk about and X-rays that you could get, when you go to the dentist or the doctor, that's a type of EMF. Mm-hmm. But when we're talking about this type of EMF, like that cell phones give off, or that power lines give off. You're talking about a kind that has very low power compared to things like X-rays, right? Because with X-rays, you can't get very much of those. If you get even a little, it's harmful. That's why the X-ray technician, when you go to the dentist, they put you in a lead jacket and then they leave the room before they take your X-rays, and it's a few quick shots because that stuff is super harmful. But when you get down to the lower powered types of EMF, so with cell phones and Wi-Fi, anything that communicates wirelessly, that emits a type of EMF that's called radio frequency. It's also sometimes called microwave, just like a microwave oven.
Okay.
Then when you get even lower, you have it's called extremely low frequency. And that's the kind of stuff that comes off of power lines and electrical appliances. And I know one thing we talked about before the show was dirty electricity.
Right.
Dirty electricity is, and I'll try to keep this as simple as possible. I said there's a type of low frequency EMF that you get from power lines and electrical appliances. And that has a very normal waveform, right? But then you connect all of these appliances and light switches and everything to the grid, and you're turning them on, you're turning them off, you're dimming switches, you're running the garbage disposal, you're doing all this stuff, and it creates this unpredictability, an uneven wave. And the whole grid is connected together. And so when you get all of these interruptions introduced into the power grid, it creates a very unstable, right, unsmooth waveform.
Okay.
And that's dirty electricity.
Okay.
And that has other effects because of the way the body reacts to these crazy waveforms.
Wow. There's so much.
I hope I explained that okay.
Right. It does make sense. And the visual is very helpful because, that was one thing I wasn't real sure about what that meant. And, I'm just looking around, and one of the webinars that you had recently that I was on, you had the lady, I don't remember her name. She's an expert. Kathy. Yeah. And she set up that picture, and she said, okay, I want everyone to come in and, find out how many things in the picture could be potentially harmful, right? What was it like? In that very small room, was it 13 things? That very small space? It was like 13 or 14 things. I think I got 9, which I was pretty proud of. But then, it was like, the chair or the desk or something. And I was like, oh, no. You just want to kind of like shut everything off and I don't know. But so that's what's so fun is that we get to learn tonight, some simple ways of protecting ourselves and moving forward. So, okay, so it is time before we go on into this kind of next piece. Well, I think before we go in, let me just start over here. I'm looking at my notes and I'm very excited about talking about all these things. So I want to talk about a couple things real quick. What do you feel? How do we start talking about this? Like, what are the simple ABCs of protecting ourselves and protecting our health? Because I don't want to overwhelm people, and I want to keep it super simple. If it's somebody that's never heard about all this, like, what would you say would be like the ABCs to start kind of thinking about? And we'll get into obviously the products soon on the show too. But what would be your first?
Okay, sure,
thoughts?
yeah. Well, there's two things that I would say in terms of protecting yourself. But before we get to that, I'd say as a starting point, I just want to reiterate that there is a ton of science now. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of studies by this point. Century that demonstrate a really wide range of negative health effects coming from exposure to this type of radiation. So obviously, really serious ones that worry people the most are things like brain tumors and miscarriage. And these are very serious. But I also want to express to people that there's a lot of science out there, a growing amount, that shows, this contributes to infertility. This contributes to sleep disruption. This contributes to anxiety. This contributes to asthma. There are whole, and it's because our whole body runs on electromagnetism. Our bodies are electromagnetic entities. And so when you're getting exposed to all of these different frequencies and power levels that we just didn't evolve to live with, it's throwing off all these different types of systems. So it's not limited to just one system in our body. We get a whole wide range of effects across every system in our body. So I just want to express that's why this is such an important topic. Now, in terms of protecting yourself, I talk about the 2 key rules. And actually, my father taught these to me. They're in the book, where I saw people have already guessed the name, and they're in Overpowered.
Awesome.
The first is, the summary of the 2 rules is minimize and maximize.
Okay.
You want to minimize your use of anything that's a source of EMF. Now, obviously, just to live in today's world, you're going to be using modern technology. And so But the question is, how much of it do you really need? Do you really need the microwave oven? In fact, you were just talking about Kathy's webinar. In the one before that, she was talking about a Bluetooth-enabled tampon.
What?
Which is a real thing. Yeah, a Bluetooth-enabled tampon. It helps monitor flow, and it syncs to a calendar on your phone and things. But women who use that are sticking it where they shouldn't. And do they really need it? What value does that really bring to their lives? Because it's an additional exposure. So when you minimize, you think about, what can I cut out? Do I need my phone on all the time? Do I need my Wi-Fi on when I'm sleeping? Probably not. Let me turn it off. Do I really need to get this cool new smart tech device that all my friends are talking about? Really have think about it to yourself. What's the cost to your health versus what's the benefit that it brings to your life? So that's minimize. Minimize the use of this stuff. Because even though we're all exposed to a lot of it, you still don't need to be exposed to all of it. Now, the second I touched on earlier, and that's maximize. You want to maximize the distance. And this also makes a really big difference. So if you have to use the microwave, stand as far away from it as possible. If you have to make a phone call, use speakerphone and keep it away from you, or use an anti-radiation headset and keep it further away from you. With the Wi-Fi router, don't keep it on your desk at work. Get it further away, because the distance really makes a huge impact in what your dose of this radiation is.
Okay. I like that. So minimize and maximize. That's really powerful and very simple. So I like that. That's the A and the B, and the C we're going to go into here when we talk about products.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on this, I think, already. What do you mean by the best EMF protection is free is probably what you just talked about, having the knowledge. Exactly. I mean, we're talking about almost 200 years of information right now, right? If you said it started in 1850?
Yep.
So we're, 200 or 170 years right now?
Yeah, so I think you're referring to the invention of the Faraday cage, which I think you want to get in.
I do want to talk about that. 1836 was that, and I think I read that EMF was kind of the
maybe a little
1850 maybe was the start of all of this. I think I read that, but maybe I'm wrong. But you still with me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just froze a minute there.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So either way,
it goes back even further than that. But okay. It really, in terms of the real world exposures, it really started with Thomas Edison. And then they built a grid to power these light bulbs. And then they started building, now that they had this platform out there of the power grid, they started building more appliances. And that's really how it all started. And the wireless stuff entered in the 20th century.
Wow. So even we're talking like refrigerators, curling iron, flat irons, because they use electricity. I mean, That's just anything that plugs in, anything that's a smart device. Wow. It just,
it's everything.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So let's see. I have a couple notes here. Just kind of topic and maybe so, for sake of time, because we have a couple questions I want to get to as well. Light bulbs, best kind and worst kind, and we'll keep it super simple. Best kind, worst kind.
Yeah, the best kind is the old-fashioned kind, the incandescent. And then you have, obviously, I share a lot of the concerns about energy efficiency and climate change. But when you get into compact fluorescence, when you get into these other energy efficient light bulbs, they introduce a lot more of this dirty electricity into your electrical wiring in your house, and then obviously also further out into the grid. So old-fashioned incandescent light bulbs are the best kind.
Can we find incandescent light bulbs just easily? My husband buys the light bulbs, and we've got all these recessed lightings, and so are incandescent. Can you find them for recessed lighting? Big question.
I'm not an interior. I need to. Yeah, you stumped me.
Okay, well, we gotta
And
go find
I
that
know
out.
in general they're just harder to find
They
because
prob-
of all of these energy guidelines and
well,
regulations that are
and
coming in.
they
But
probably
you can
want
still
it to be
find.
harder to find too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But you still can find them.
Well,
Now,
maybe that's a
whether they
Google
make them for
search.
your home, I don't. Yeah.
I know my husband's like, what? Incandescent lights? I'm like, light bulbs. I'm like, maybe we could try. I guess you have to pick your battles, right? Okay, so cell phones. Um, one thing that or how about one thing for male, one thing for female, and maybe one thing for children that should never be allowed or done with a cell phone.
Okay. Well, for men and women, I'm going to say kind of the same thing, but differently. Men should not carry their phones in their pockets, and women should not carry their phones in their bras.
Okay.
Because these are both big habits that a ton of people have. And just like I was saying, the further the distance, the safer it is. When this stuff is right in your pocket, there's no distance. So you're getting a full dose. In fact, if you read the manuals, for which we just talked about no one doing,
Yeah,
but
right.
if you read the manual, for instance, for the iPhone, they talk about how they measured the radiation to meet federal regulations. They measure it away from the body. So implicit in the manual for the iPhone is they tell you not to carry it in your pocket, but everyone does it. And with women, again, it's really the bra, which is the really bad habit that I see.
Right.
And so you want to either keep it further away from you, like maybe in a bag, or you turn it into airplane mode before you put it in your pocket or your bra, because when it's in airplane mode, it's essentially emitting almost no radiation.
Okay.
Now for kids, this is obviously for the parent rather than the kid, but with kids, you want to delay getting them that phone for as long as possible. In fact, there's a movement called Wait Until 8th, which we link to from my site, which is all about encouraging parents not to get their kids cell phones until 8th grade. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons why. It has to do with social development, with concentration, with focus, with academic development, and so forth. But it's also because, I keep talking about cell phones, and I've said already there are all of these sources of EMF all around us, but cell phones are a really huge source of so many of our exposures. They're really high, relatively quite high powered, and we have them around us all the time. We hold them too close to our bodies. So cell phone etiquette can make a huge difference in your exposure. And with a kid, the less exposure they're going to have when they're younger. Kids are more vulnerable to damage, to negative health impacts from EMF than adults are, for a variety of reasons we don't need to go into here.
Right.
But they're more vulnerable, and they have to, any damage they do incur, they're going to have to live longer with it. If you're 80, you're getting a big dose of cell phone radiation, maybe you have, if you're lucky, 10, 20 years. But if you're 10 and you have a big dose of cell phone radiation, you're going to have decades and decades and decades to live with that damage.
Right.
So the longer you can wait before getting your kid a cell phone, you're doing them a big favor for their long-term health.
Right. Well, their brains are so much, less able to block things, and they're such a small little body, and the sterilization, and I know that could be a really big conversation that we could just probably spend an hour talking about that alone, and so many different reasons. So it's good to at least touch on it. I see Tim Kamura. Hi, Tim. Tim is my husband's business partner and good friend in their business. And Tim's asking a question about the watches. Are they help, or are they bad because they are on our body? And that is a question, because I see so many people with the watches now. I have not gotten one, but
good. Yeah, no, they're not. I mean, okay. I'll let, because I don't like coming across as a Luddite. I used to be a software developer. I dealt with devices all the time. I love technology in a lot of ways. But this, again, gets back to that cost-benefit analysis, which is how much value does it really bring you to have an Apple Watch on you when you already are carrying an iPhone with you? And the thing with the Apple Watch or any of these smartwatches is it's impossible to create separation. It's designed to be right there. It's directly against your body.
Right.
And it's designed to be right there for really extended periods of time. So you're getting these, and different watches will have different amounts of radiation emit. It depends, is it Wi-Fi, is it Bluetooth, does it have a cell chip in it? Because an increasing number of them do, so there's different levels of radiation, but it's right against your body and it's for really extended periods of time. And what value does it really bring?
Right.
Now, I will, if I can, use this as an example. I had a relative who had, turns out he had an arrhythmia, a heart arrhythmia. And it was really hard to diagnose because in order to detect arrhythmia, you need to go to the doctor and you need to get an EKG. And if you're not experiencing the arrhythmia when you go to the doctor, it can't be diagnosed. So this relative got one of those watches, not an Apple Watch, although I think the newer Apple Watches can do it, but one that at the time could do it, that basically had an EKG function. And
Right.
he was able to monitor his heart 24/7 and diagnose the arrhythmia. And that, to me, that's a great example of when this technology does add value, even as it's increasing your EMF exposure.
Okay. There was a device that was brought to my attention a few years ago. I ended up, someone sent it to me, and I was messing around with it. It was and it was one of these devices that did the EKG. I don't believe that it was set up at the time that I received it, and then I just never really wore it. I didn't do a whole lot, but it apparently it was. It had the jewels, and I can't remember all the different little stones that it had on it, and it was supposed to be, EMF protection for you with all of the gems. And is that stuff kind of just, does it really work? And or is it per company?
Are you talking about, was this an EMF protection kind of bracelet kind of thing?
Yes, it was. The bracelet was the EMF, but it also had, you could measure your sleep and, these kind of, I think it was one of the first ones of this kind that this company brought, came out with. And it had maybe 4 or 5 gems underneath the band when it sat on your arm, the stones, the gems would be on your skin. And, so curious about that.
Yeah. So, because there's a lot of, I don't know that product in particular.
Right. But there's a lot of products out there that have all these stones on them, right?
Yeah. So there's Organite is a type, I think that's a crystal that is very popular with certain people as a remedy for EMF exposure. My advice to people, and again, this is this is me and SYB. We're heavily influenced by my father. My advice to people is to follow science. And if a product makes claims that are measurable, that are demonstrable, that are backed by science, that's the type of product that I recommend. Now, there are some people who use Organite, for example, to help remedy their sensitivities to EMF. And if it's working for them, I say, great, keep doing it. And if nothing else is working for you and you want to try it, I say, go for it. But in general, the advice I give to people is to look for solutions that are backed in science and that have demonstrable claims.
Well, and I suppose if those were those kind of items, you would have them on your website. So we'll get to your, and I want you to know that I am following you and that's why you're on my show, because I trust you and what you've done. And I love the fact that it's backed by science and all that okay. So another question, while we're on this kind of jewelry path, and I just want to say, we're probably going to go maybe to 8:15 Central was 9:15. Are you okay with that, R?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because we're about 10 minutes shy of that, hour, and I want to be sensitive to everybody's time. I know we have a couple questions, but this is really great information, and I really appreciate all that you're sharing.
Mhm.
So what about the ring? I have some friends that have this new ring. They're like all excited about it because it measures again, same kind of thing, right? It's hooked to Bluetooth. It measures their sleep. It measures.
Oh, that stuff. Yeah, I really advise. So, especially stuff that's designed to measure your sleep, because stuff that's designed to measure your sleep, you're bringing to bed with you, and this stuff, it really does disrupt your sleep. This is an area where it's not just anecdote, where there's science. They can explain the mechanisms in terms of melatonin production suppression and so forth. Anything that's designed to improve your sleep that emits EMF is really think twice about it.
Right.
So that I'm very opposed to that. In general, I'm opposed to wearable technology.
Okay.
Again, recognizing that there are some people for whom it can make a big difference to their lives.
Right. Like the example you just gave, right?
Yeah. So for those, I'll give you another example. One of the customers emailed in recently and was asking about her son. I believe it was a blood sugar monitor, and it was Bluetooth, and she was all concerned about it. But the way it was working for him, it was very important, not just to his health, but actually to his ability to live. And I said, look, don't worry about that. He obviously needs it. Focus on cutting the EMF elsewhere in his life, and don't worry about the risk that blood sugar monitor is bringing to him, because you can't get rid of it, and it's adding value to him. So focus elsewhere.
Okay, good information. Way to calm a worried mother too, because moms can kind of go off, right? They're like, oh my gosh, you've got to stop this and that and everything else. I know my mom, she can be that way too. I'm like, okay, one thing at a time, and let me learn about it, and then move from there. So, okay, so let's see. We got the ring, the watch. Let me see. I know we had a couple other questions. Kona, can you pop up a question or two that maybe we want to touch on? Because I just, Quitman has one. Are there lower powered EMF considered cancer clusters? Are these lower powered EMF considered cancer clusters? Do you understand that question, R?
Yeah. So a cancer cluster, I think he's combining a couple of different issues into that one question. A cancer cluster is when there's an unusually high occurrence of cancer in a population. So there's an instance it's infamously known as the Tower of Death or Tower of Doom in England, where they put a cell phone tower on top of an apartment building, and a huge percentage of the people who lived on the top floor of that apartment building developed cancer. And there's other ones. There was one, I think, in the 80s at the New York Times, where a huge number of people in one area developed cancer, and it seemed to be linked to computer monitors, which the old kind used to emit a lot more radiation than today. So the lower there are a growing number of cancer clusters that are linked to exposure to this type of lower powered electromagnetic radiation. I think that's the answer to that question.
That makes sense. I mean, there's so many people that are dealing with cancer, and of course, like you said earlier, even asthma. I didn't realize asthma. One of the things I've kind of done some research on is oxidative stress on the cellular level, and I listened to. I think he was a chiropractor potentially. He was trying to get into the wellness. He was a chiropractor who also taught on wellness, and he was discussing EMFs and how negative it is for producing oxidative stress in our body on the cellular level. So that was interesting. Kind of side note. I think I listened to that message probably, or that video maybe a year or so ago, and kind of stuck with me because I was like, it's everywhere. It's getting in everything. Okay, so let's see. Wi-Fi. How about since we all have Wi-Fi in our house pretty much, I would say probably 99.9% of people do. One simple hack for Wi-Fi router. I know you said not to have it on your desk. Like ours is actually in our living room, in the cabinet where our TV is, and that just happened to be where they had to put it. So it's kind of it's in the, closed in, we don't see it or anything, and it's in the we have a huge living room. So is there one simple hack that you can share as far as, is there a cover for it, or is there a way to?
Well, the simplest hack is, I'll quickly answer that question. This is what people really need to understand about this stuff, especially I mentioned radio frequency, like cell phones use or Wi-Fi uses, anything that communicates wirelessly. You can't fully block it because the wireless radiation is how this stuff communicates. So if you fully block your phone, if you fully block your Wi-Fi router, it's not going to work. And so that's why you can't really get around that. Now, the quick hack, the one that I really recommend, it's one of my top tips for a lot of people, is to turn it off when you're not using it, particularly when you go to bed at night. Okay. Because when you go to bed, if let's say on average, 7-8 hours, that's almost a third of your day that you can go without that exposure. And that stuff adds up over time. So you can cut out that exposure for a third of your life by just unplugging the Wi-Fi when you go to bed. Okay. Beyond that, there are. Easy. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, go on.
No, that's great. I that's what I'm trying to look for, those simple hacks, and that sounds like a great idea. Power lines, and that's probably like a massive amount of conversation about power lines, but maybe one thing to consider about power lines, or is that even something we want to dive into?
Yeah, I mean, there's very little that you can, once you're living in a place, there's very little you can do about the radiation that's coming in from something like a power line or a power transformer near you. And also I want to make it clear, just because there's a power line near you, it doesn't mean that it's a super high exposure that you're getting. And just because the line is further away doesn't mean it's a safer level of exposure. And this is why I really encourage people to invest in a tool like this. It's called the Tri-Field TF2, but there are other ones out there. It's an EMF meter. Okay. A decent one will set you back at least about $160. So they're not cheap, but it's the only way to know how much of this stuff you're getting exposed to. And it can vary widely, even within your house. And even if you can't do anything about the power line radiation coming into your house, you can figure out, maybe it's smarter for me to move my sofa over to that wall because the levels are so much lower over there. Mm-hmm. So that's one of it's really, it's increasingly a vital tool in today's world.
Do you have that listed anywhere on your website for people to be able to find it? Maybe, I don't know if you offer it for sale or a link for it.
I don't sell meters, but if you go to shieldyourbody.com/test, then I have a whole bunch of information about testing. I have meter recommendations. I have videos you can watch. Oh, perfect. And it shows people can learn about that stuff and figure out what to play.
That's very helpful. 5G, again, is going to be a huge conversation. Maybe we need to have you back on in a few months and we can kind of dive into 5G a little bit more, because I think right now it's just getting out there a little more visibly and more established. And I was reading online the other day that San Antonio, where we live right on the outside of San Antonio, is one of the largest cities in Texas with the startup of 5G. I was like, no, but we kind of live on the outskirts. Not that may not even matter, but I think one of the things I just want to touch on with 5G, again, trying to be conscious of our time and get through all of my questions, of course. We still have to do our fun rapid fire questions, but so the real risk to all living creatures isn't just 5G, it's everything. But would you say 5G coming in is going to really impact all living creatures even more?
Yes.
Yes, a simple answer.
Yeah, it will. Well, there's two. I'll be quick about it. There's two things about 5G that are very threatening. One is that 5G, it doesn't yet really, but it will operate at frequencies that have never before been used in consumer applications, right? So I mentioned low frequency from power lines. I mentioned radio frequency from cell phones. 5G is going to go up to 300 gigahertz, which is way more energy than we've been exposed to, again, in consumer applications. So these are untested exposures, is my point. The second, and this is often overlooked because a lot of people are freaked out about the energy levels. I am more freaked out by the number of devices, because 5G is designed, a lot of people think of 5G as a cell phone technology, and it is, but it's way more than that. 5G is designed to support the Internet of Things, where literally everything in your life is internet connected. And it's all connected that way using the 5G network. So it's not just your phone, it's your smart meter and your smart car and your smart fridge and your smart lock. And so you're talking about this explosion in the number of sources, which means an explosion in the number of exposures. And so we're talking about a huge growth in the number of exposures that are enabled by this new technology. And that's before you even get to the fact that all these frequencies are brand new.
It is that to me is pretty overwhelming. I was listening to maybe a TED talk or something, because I I like to listen to just all these different things, and just kind of hear. I'm a faith believing Christian girl, so I like to listen to faith-based stuff. I listen to secular things, just trying to and interesting enough, both views are very similar and a little bit different slant, but same kind of theme. And one of the things I heard, I believe it was on a TED talk, was it was some 5G expert kind of person, but I remember they said 5G is supposed to eventually be where you could have you don't even have to carry a cell phone anymore. You can just basically say like Uber, and Uber will show up. It'll be that specific. And I can't remember if they said that will be 5G or that could be like 6G or 8G or 10G or whatever, because it's not going to end at probably 5G. But they said Eventually it will be where you just speak it and it shows up, kind of thing, like for something like that.
That's what I was saying in terms of the Internet of Things, because in order for something like that to work, there's got to be some implant, and people are working on these implants. That's
right.
Not,
no. Neuralink.
Yeah, which
He's
is, I think,
got one already.
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is that in order for that technology to work, you do need a network like 5G or 6G or 7G or whatever it ends up being in place to support that. Because if that's happening, there's a lot more of these devices around, and you need a network that can support an order of magnitude increase in the number of these wireless connections around us.
Okay, well, we're going to come back with you in a few months for more 5G information, because I know it'll be really interesting for people. So I want to kind of move into wrapping this up easily. First of all, let's go back. Kona, can you go back to who won the first question giveaway? Because I know somebody did overpowered. I almost said overcharged. Overpowered.
There, Nana.
All right, Nana, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, girl. It's so good to have you. I know you've been on a few other times too, so thank you for coming back in and sticking with us. If you can, please email me info@monicabrant.com, and I can connect you with my Aloe Life sponsor to get your free giveaway. Kona, do we have another question that we need to address before we move on? Because I know it looks like a ton of questions here. Have you seen something? Tim's got another one. What does it say here? Is 4G will take in the 5G ways too? Can we protect ourselves from 5G towers and just stay with 4G? Can you talk about 5G and ways to protect yourself? So Tim, we're going to come back to 5G. I don't think, and maybe you can say this too, but I don't think we can get away from 5G, right?
It's really hard. I mean, so if you're talking about from your own devices, you can make the choice not to upgrade to 5G, at least for a while. I mean, right now, you have to actually pay a lot more to get a 5G phone. They're pretty expensive.
Even if they say because my phone says 5G on it right now, but that's not.
Are you sure, or does it say 5GE?
Oh, that's good. I saw it the other day, and I don't know that I see it ever. So right now I don't see it, but sometimes I see 5G. Like up at the top here, it'll say.
What kind of iPhone do you have? What iPhone?
Well, this is an Android. It's the 20 Edge 20, so it's the I don't know. I've had it for almost a year probably.
No, then it isn't a 5G phone. You might.
So even if
you
it,
have, yeah, you might
even
have
if it,
5GE, which
okay.
is basically a marketing ploy. I forget which one did it.
Okay.
It's either AT&T or Verizon,
Okay.
and it's basically just kind of turbo boosted 4G.
Okay, so we have AT&T, so maybe that's what that's good. Great information. But
so in terms of your personal devices, you always have this kind of discretion. So you can choose not to upgrade to 5G. At least, again, it'll be a while before you're forced to upgrade, where there's no 4G phones made available. That'll be a while. So, but then you get into this stuff about out in the world, the 5G tower, and honestly, avoiding exposure from a 5G tower, you can't turn it off. You can't keep it further away from you. And that's the same issues as a 4G tower or a radio tower. And so when you're out in the world, really the only protection that you can get is apparel.
Okay.
So I see you're wearing
that. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. So thank you, Tim, for that question. Brett, this is a subject that should be discussed everywhere. You're right about that. That's why we have R on here on the Monica Brant Show. Trisha says, my phone is internet radio to fall asleep. And my wake up alarm clock on the bedside lamp table. The speaker is excellent. I don't need it that close, and switch to airplane mode. Thank you. Okay. Yes, Trisha.
Yeah, Trisha learned something. So
yes, make some changes there, right?
Yeah.
I've been trying to. So is it enough to just turn the Wi-Fi button off on your phone, or does that do enough, or does it have to go airplane mode?
Well, so yeah, you bring up a good point, because there's actually different kinds of levels of airplane mode. Full airplane mode is turning off cell connection, turning off Wi-Fi, and turning off Bluetooth. And that's when you really cut out the EMF.
Okay.
But if you had to pick between Wi-Fi and cell connection, Wi-Fi will have much lower EMF emissions than a cell connection, because with Wi-Fi, your phone only has to communicate 30, 40, 50 feet. With a cell connection, that has enough power to communicate miles. And so if you have to use wireless on your phone and you have the choice between Wi-Fi or cell data, use Wi-Fi.
Okay. And so then maybe just keep
if you really want to cut it all out, you have to turn them all off.
Okay. So then, like my husband, he's a horse trainer. He likes to have his phone in case, something's going on in the middle of the night with a horse. He needs to hear about it. So he can't just turn his phone off, but at least we could move it away from bedside table and away from the room. Like you said, maximize the distance. Okay. Okay, good information. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go over here and do rapid fire questions just for a short little break and kind of think about something else for a couple minutes. Super fun. And then we're going to come back in. We're going to talk to R about his products on Shield Your Body. And you can see all the products that I actually have. And I didn't get them just for tonight. I've had them for a while. So we're going to go over those. And then we have one more giveaway that R's going to be offering up. And we'll have some great discounts for a day or two and also for the rest of the month. So stick with us. Let me do the rapid fire questions, and then we're going to take a really quick break. Okay, are you ready, R, for something different?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Describe yourself in 3 words as a teen.
As a teen?
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow, I guess I wasn't really ready. Precocious, blonde, and young.
That's great. I like precocious. Okay, name one type of food you do not like to share with your girlfriend. I'm sorry, hey Brad, can you come get Cammy? She's crying and she can't get out the door. I'm sorry to interrupt, but she'll sit here and cry. Sure. My little dachshund. I'm sorry, honey. One type of food you don't like to share. Assuming you will share something. Uh-oh, we're frozen. No. Uh-oh, he's thinking hard. We're frozen. Oh no. Hopefully we get him back on here. I know. All right, there he is.
Sorry.
There he is. Okay,
I'm
Art, you're back.
I said hot dog.
Hot dog. Okay, good for you.
Sorry.
Favorite type of exercise?
Bicycling.
All right, cool. Last show you binge watched, whether Netflix or something else.
Oh, yeah, we just finished it last night. It's Utopia on Amazon.
Okay. List the best thing that happened to you in 2020.
Of all the people in the world I could be trapped with, being trapped with my girlfriend.
Oh, yes, that's awesome. Okay, name a favorite Christmas tradition.
Ordering in Chinese.
That's awesome. Okay, your last 3 apps or websites you visited today.
Well, they're just not that interesting. One's my inventory management system. One is my international payment management system. And I guess CNN is in there too.
All good, all good. Okay, if you had to become an animal for 1 week, which would it be?
Cat.
A cat. Interesting. Okay, good.
Yeah.
You get to sleep a lot and be nocturnal. List one thing on your live list. I don't like to say bucket list, but because we're talking about death, but I like to say live list. Like you're going to live, and this one thing you really want to do while you're and to enjoy life.
Oh well, I really want to be able to resume traveling. Like that was the whole point of this year, and then I get stuck in one apartment instead. So I really would like to resume that.
Okay, good. Well, we hope to have you back in the States again. And the last question before we go to a very, very quick break. Hardest thing for you to start up again if you have been off of it for a while?
Waking up early.
There you go. That's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, we're going to take a super, super quick break, talk about some of our sponsors, and Conan, I want to take it away, and we will come right back. Okay. Don't go anywhere.
Dr. Stephen Sear is a Mayo Clinic fellowship-trained spine surgeon. He's earned a sterling reputation in performing complex revision surgeries of the spine. His countless reviews and testimonials speak volumes to both the quality of his outcomes and his compassionate bedside manner. If you're looking for a surgeon you can trust, someone who will focus on your individualized needs to craft the perfect surgical solution, look no further. Call us to get your life back.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our 3rd year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Hi, my name is Barbara Casarin. I am a traveling makeup artist, hairstylist. I go to you at any location, at your house, hotel, anywhere you like. I offer makeup from full service makeup to lashes, brows, just eyes. I offer blowouts, hairstyles, updos, and hair treatments.
show. I'm your host, Monica Brant, and we've been talking to entrepreneur, a co-author of Overpowered. Did I say it right? I don't know why I want to say overcharged. Overpowered book, and owner of Shield Your Body products. So, nice to have you back on. Thank you guys for staying with us. We're going to just have a few more minutes and we're going to wrap up this. But so we were discussing one more giveaway. I want you to, or if you don't mind sharing how that's going to work for our fans, so that they can actually receive one of your newest products, which I need to get. So what we're going to do is I want you to just share that so everyone can be thinking about that. And then I want to go through the products that I have here with you and just kind of touch on all the products and show, and because I know people like to see things. So,
sure, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think we have a graphic for this giveaway, but my newest product is the SYB sling bag. So it's like a sling bag. It's like a small backpack. You see it here, and it's shielded on the back. So it's designed for you to carry your tech, like your phones or your tablets, your e-readers, for your kids to carry their Nintendo Switch. It fits a bunch of this tech, and it's shielded on the back, so it deflects the radiation away from your body. And
awesome.
It's a really nice bag. I love this product. It's probably my favorite product in my catalog right now. And it's $99. We just launched it last week, actually, so it's brand new. And anyone with a U.S. shipping address can just enter their email at this URL that they see, shieldyourbody.com/Monica. And then on Friday, we're going to pick a winner, and that lucky winner will get a SYB sling bag.
Ooh, can I enter myself?
Yeah, sure thing.
That is a great gift, especially with Christmas coming up. And I see we have the codes, and we're going to be sharing those again, you guys. If you didn't catch them, we'll share them, and I'll make sure that they go on so we can all see them again. And I want to go over some of the products. So first of all, I use my headphones all the time.
Excellent. My air tubes. Yes, those are anti-radiation.
Yes. And the only thing that I wanted to ask you, because with my new phone, this does not work in my phone. So I had to get one of these little adapters. Is this still going to be work? Okay, good. Because it's, I guess
because the radiation stops at the bead.
Okay. Where
it turns into the air tube. So whatever adapters you need, it'll still function the way it's designed to function.
Okay.
And I also want to tell people it's not just for phones. It's great for tablets, for laptops, for anything that you listen to music on or talk on. Right. It's a really great product.
So I have this one. I have the black pair too. They're both just a little bit different, but I have two pairs because I wanted to try them both out. They both, because they both work in my ears just fine. And I have them for, I have one in the house and one that I travel with when I run around. So that's those are helpful.
If I could jump in, I also have
please.
A product called the Hard, which is headset anti-radiation device. I don't know if it's coming across on the camera so well, but this is a great one. I love the air tubes, but this is a great product because this allows you to turn any headset or headphones into an anti-radiation product. So you can use like with these, you see I'm using my higher quality headset for this. You plug that headset into this and then this into the jack, and now even this is an anti-radiation headset.
Okay, that was my next question, because I've got these little things I got from Amazon on, and I was like, I wanted to ask you about that because I'm like, how do I make these? So you just answered my question. So that's another device that I need to pick up, and super cool, because then anyone could use whatever headsets they want or whatever, right? And they just use that. Is that a USB in that jack?
No, this is also a 3.5, but you can use a USB-C adapter just like you're using for the air tubes.
Okay. And then, okay, cool. That's great. Okay. So this was my first product that I purchased from you, was the pouch. And I just have to say, I really like this pouch. Number one, I don't wear it on my belt. However, I do hold it like this. And I go to the track, I'm in the gym, we go to horse shows and out in the dust and the dirt. And this is the best thing ever because my phone stays cleaner and I don't have to worry about dropping it in the dirt at the barn. Right. And so
excellent.
Yeah, and with the color, if it's in my purse, I can see it real easily.
Yeah.
So
People love the colors.
Yeah. Now the only thing is, I have smaller ones because my old phone was a little bit smaller, and then I got this, anti-drop protection on my phone. So I had to get the bigger case, but whatever. I do like it a lot. And could you speak on it real quick for everybody?
Sure. Yeah. The black is, I have it in 6 colors. The black is the most popular.
You just can't find it in your purse very well.
Yeah, I've heard that. So that a lot of people like the orange for that purpose. But I was actually just realizing this morning, the pouch has just turned 5 years old this month.
Oh, cool.
And it's consistently been my best-selling product since I launched it. It makes it safer. So with all of these products, it really matters how they're designed and how you use them. It makes it safer to carry your phone. The back is what's lined with the shielding fabric, and the front isn't. So that's how it can deflect, like if you put your phone in it, that's how it deflects radiation away from your body, but it still allows the phone to work.
Okay.
Because if you fully wrapped the phone in the shielding stuff, it would interfere with the reception. It would start draining your battery. There's no point in that. If that's what you want, turn it into airplane mode. But this product is designed to make it safer to carry your phone.
Okay. If it's sitting in this pouch and it's just sitting on the counter, it still helps with some of the radiation, or?
Well, it depends how it's angled, right? Because it's the back that is the shielding. So you always want, with any shielding product, this is really with any shielding product, whether it's mine or from another company, if it's an EMF shield, you always need the shielding between the source and your body. Now, when it's apparel, which I know we'll get into, that's easier because you're wearing it. Right. So it's necessarily going to be in between the source and your body. So with these other products, it always has to be between the source and your body.
So if I have my phone in here and it's sitting on the counter, it should be sitting like on the counter like this. Technically, or does that really matter?
You want the back, but in this case, you really want the back between the phone and your body.
Okay. So if it's sitting on the counter, it's not going to make a big difference really because it's off your body. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's go into this. This shield.
The 5G phone shield. Yes.
Which again, I love the fact because I can stick it in my little handbag. Because this adds up too much space for my small handbag. If I put it in here and then I have it next to my, because I carry the handbag under my arm, then this is between my phone and me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's basically, in terms of function, it's very similar to the phone pouch. But I designed it because some people just don't want pouches. They don't want to carry it on their body.
Well, and it doesn't fit in your pocket sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a card. It's in vegan leather, and you just keep that between your phone and your body, whether that's in your pocket or in your pocketbook or purse or backpack.
And that does fit in my back pocket of my jeans that a lot of my jeans. So it works really well if I want to. But, sometimes this does every once in a while fit in those pockets too. So that depends. Either side works, right, on this?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
because it looks the same. So either side. Okay, so that's that. And then moving up, we've got your newest, the tablet.
The tablet
shield.
pad.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that... and that's, I've been selling for several years. I've been selling a laptop pad, which I know you have that too. And I decided to make a smaller version of it specifically for tablets. Okay. And the whole thing, like with the 5G phone shield, the whole thing is the shield. So you want to keep it between the device and your body when you're using it.
Right. Okay. So with the laptop, which I understand nowadays really is not meant to be on your lap without this. And everyone's got it on their lap. You're like, oh, get it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Laptops aren't for laps.
Stomach or whatever. So, but also like for my laptop, I don't ever put it on my lap. I have it set on my desk. I use a monitor and a keyboard, and I know that there's a lot of information about that, which we'll save for another time. But maybe speak on this, you having your laptop on the desk as opposed to just being on
that can still help because it depends if you can keep your laptop pretty far away, like mine is here, like if you're using an external keyboard and an external monitor, then it's probably not going to make a difference for you. But if you're sitting at a desk and your legs and reproductive organs are under your laptop, even if the laptop isn't on your lap, they are positioned under the laptop. That's where the laptop pad still comes in handy, even if you're using it on a desk.
Great. Well, that makes a lot of sense. That helps. I actually bought a few of them because we have people that come in and out Kona's here at the house, and of course I had one for him to use, and then he left town and hasn't been back, so he hasn't been able to use it. We need to get you another one, Kona. Maybe one that you can travel with you. But I have the bandana around my neck, and I've worn it all different ways, but tonight I chose to wear it here. Maybe speak on this. I felt like I'm protecting my thyroid gland.
Yes, you are. Yeah. So with apparel, and I have a few different growing number of apparel products. Another one is the men's underwear.
Right. Okay.
And with the apparel, the whole thing is the shield. So with the bandana, the whole thing is the shield. With the underwear, again, the whole thing is the shield, and it'll protect whatever part of the body it covers. So with the bandana, what's great about that is you can use it in so many different ways. So I see you using it to protect your thyroid. That's a great use. You can wear it as kind of a do-rag and protect your brain. Some people I know wear it on their laps instead of a laptop pad. There's whatever part of your body it's covering is the part that it will protect. It doesn't protect your whole, just wearing it around your neck doesn't protect your whole body.
Right.
It's a shield, so it'll only protect the part that it's covering.
Right.
The bandana, by the way, I'll just throw in, I love that. It's 65% silver and 35% silk. I spent a lot of time looking for that material.
It's nice. I have you've heard of Dr. Oh my goodness, what's his name? He was talking about, he's very well known, has a huge following. He's an older guy, and I can't remember his name right now. It's just kind of on top of my, up here. You can probably see it, but I can't see it. I remember he was talking about EMFs a while back, and he was talking about sleeping in silver sheets, but he was talking about how expensive they were. So I'm going to wait till you come out with some silver sheets, and we can start using those.
I'll just throw it in there, and it is expensive. I just started selling a bed canopy, and that's 100% silver, and but like I say, it's 100% silver, and it's a canopy for your whole bed, so it's pretty expensive. But for people who need that type of protection, it's great because it protects you all night, and that's, like we said, about a third of your life. And it protects you in every single direction from all of these sources that are out of, like, you can turn off your Wi-Fi at night, but what about your neighbor's Wi-Fi, or what about the nearby cell tower? And so it's a really, really great solution.
Well, that is a whole nother, I think we have to come back in a few months. We're going to have to come back. We're going to talk more about 5G because I know there's going to be a lot more questions that come up. And also I'd like to hear more about sleep protection and the bed canopies, and maybe by then we'll be able to have some visuals, because I'm sure people, like for us, like we don't really have a bed that would right now sustain a canopy, so there would have to be something built to hold it up and all of that.
Well, yeah, in this case it's ceiling mounted, but yeah,
I get your point. Very interesting. Very cool. Well, I'm so excited. We've had so much great information. Last thing I wanted to ask you about, and then I just want to open it up in case there's anything I've missed that you want to share again, or share, is the baby blanket. You still have those?
Yes. Yeah, that's another really popular
and
product.
You have a little cap too, a little soft.
A baby beanie. Yeah.
Beanie. That's right. Beanie. That's right.
Yeah.
Not a cap. Beanie.
Yeah.
Okay. Are those all? Is it a one size? The beanie is one size for babies?
No, the beanie has 5 sizes.
Oh, okay.
All the way up to 24 months. The baby blanket is one size, and that's, it's 80 inches by 72 inches. So it's pretty big. You can really wrap your baby in it, but a lot of adults use it too, just as an EMF blanket. It's very popular with people who are flying to block against airplane radiation, or when you're working in the office, and pregnant women use it. So we call it the baby blanket, but it has a lot of uses.
Is it one color or is it 2 colors?
No, we have 5 colors.
5
actually.
colors. Look at you. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, people like choices. So, well, I like that. And I was thinking I think you were talking about this earlier about, pregnancy. And I was just thinking probably having that blanket over your baby would be really important as much as you can.
The fetus in utero, yeah.
Right. Oh man, there's so much we can keep talking about. I know, and we are now at 8:30, and I went over my time, so I'm so sorry. But thank you so very much.
No, I really appreciate the opportunity. And if you could just throw up the sale so everyone knows that they can get a discount. There's 25% off with this code if you order before Friday, because I'm trying to reward the people who are here live.
Yes.
And then even if you're watching this on a replay, there's a 15% coupon here. It works through Christmas, and this works on any order on my website.
I don't know. I was trying to take a picture. But hey, Kona, if you can get a picture for us, that would be awesome. That we can have this up and ready to go for a future, or to talk about the show. There, I'm trying to get that out. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we say goodnight? And
no, just remember to shield your body. The 2 rules are minimize and maximize. Minimize the use of this stuff because you are in control. Minimize the use of it, and when you are using it, maximize the distance. And those are the 2 best ways to make a huge difference in your exposure, and that will pay off in terms of your health.
Cool. That's great information. And then lastly, where can people find you, besides
ShieldYourBody.com.
And Instagram? You're on Twitter?
Oh yeah, we're Shield Your Body on everywhere. Shield Your Body on Instagram, Shield Your Body on Twitter, Shield Your Body on Facebook, Shield Your Body on YouTube. But you can also find all that stuff through my website.
Great. That's very good information. Okay, so I just thank you, everyone. I'm going to let you go, Art. Thank you so much for all your time tonight and all your information. It really has been a blessing for me. It helped kind of talk through some of these things for myself, and I know it'll be great for people listening in later. So I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Tell your girlfriend thank you for your time.
Well,
and I'm
thank you
praying
very
that
much.
I'm praying you guys get back to the U.S. And if I don't get to talk to you before, Merry Christmas. God bless your time there in Panama, and hurry home.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, We'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right, guys. I know our show went longer than I expected, but there's so much great information, and I just didn't want to leave you hanging with not enough. Not enough. So thank you guys so much. Let's see. Next week, I have great guests every week, you guys. So please do tune in and join again next week. As you know, I've been bringing in so many different type of guests here, and I'm really excited about this show. I'm so thankful for all of you that are tuning in each week, and those of you that can tune in every once in a while. It's really a blessing, and it's been fun for me learning how to be a host because, as y'all probably know, I'm usually the one being interviewed. So this has been a learning experience for me, and I appreciate you guys joining me and supporting this show. If you want to go back and see any of the past episodes, you're welcome to go to themonicabrantshow.com. All of the episodes are there. They're hosted over on YouTube. They stay on my Facebook page, but they will be also on the website, hosted there through YouTube. So feel free to find those. You guys, if you want to, if any of them have you've enjoyed, please feel free to share and tell people about the show. I do have a donation button there on the website. You're welcome to leave $1 or $5 or nothing. But if you feel like donating, there's always bills to pay, and I appreciate anything that you guys can do. Be sure and share the shows. That would be awesome. I see my mom joining in. Hi, Mom. I'm so glad to see you were here because you were the one. And I did get in touch with Albert. He was running tonight. Albert is my mom's friend who told her about Shield Your Body. So this is something that is shared, right? I'm just asking you guys to share my shows. And this is something that was shared with me through my mom, through her friend Albert. And here we are with this awesome show tonight and all the great information. So feel free to share. Let's see what else. And one of my sponsors, Bodyscape magazine, well, we came up with an idea, and I would like to autograph Bodyscape magazine for one of my guests. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but I'm thinking it might be potentially Mr. Quitman, because Quitman's been on almost every week, and he's such a support for my show, and I just really appreciate that. So I'm not sure if we're going to be doing this every week, but I'm definitely going to be doing at least one a month. And tonight's the first night to do. And I don't know if you guys realize I am now an associate editor of Bodyscape Magazine. Super excited. I work with my good friend and super talented photographer friend, Sarah Lyons Glabman. And this is a really fun opportunity that I get to be involved in a magazine. So Quitman, I'm gonna say this is for you. I have got your address already, so I'm going to get one of these in the mail to you. So thank you for all your support. Really appreciate it. And I think that's it for now. You guys tune in next week, same time, same place. You guys have a beautiful, blessed night. Again, thank you so much. God bless you all. And go check out all of the products there on shieldyourbody.com. I know we gave you some discount codes, and I will make sure they're in the text for this if you haven't. And if you need them, you just want to email me, info@monicabrant.com. I can make sure we get them over to you. Again, info@monicabrant.com. See you guys next week. Have a blessed rest of your night, and goodbye for now.